The views expressed, opinions given, and any communication made between the hosts and guests of What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Para X Radio, EMC Network, or all services that play this show. The hosts and services are not responsible for the actions of their guests, and the original rights of all intellectual property is retained by the creator, and all work is used with either permission or Creative Commons license. The show is for entertainment purposes only. I'm horror author T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm horror author and filmmaker Phil Thomas.
And tonight we're asking you,
what are you afraid of? Philadelphia's horror home with hosts T. Fox Dunham and Phil Thomas.
Quality warning. This podcast often records in the field to gather the best in paranormal materia from witnesses. Often, we cannot control the quality of sound in this environment, such as you may hear distortions or perhaps the occasional moaning. But then again, we're not about control, are we?
Embrace the chaos.
So we're here at Comics Den
That we are.
on Lansdale Day.
Yes, it is.
I know, and it's hot out.
It is really hot, but we're
Right.
keeping cool.
Right, we are. It's very cool in here.
Yes, it is.
We're at Comics Den. Tim Hershey's invited us back. I don't know why he keeps doing that.
I don't know. It's been a while since we've been here.
He invites us back, we bury a body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what we do.
The last time we were here was, I believe, what was it, October?
It was October. I think
Yeah.
we were here for the last Lansdale First Friday.
That's right.
We came down and did a show here, and then we've had that crazy October schedule.
Right.
We were at Penhurst. Remember that?
I remember that schedule.
Right.
That was, yeah. It kept us busy and it was fun.
Did.
It was fun.
It was fun, I think.
Yeah.
We have wrestlers behind us.
Yes, we do. Look at this.
So who are you guys?
I'm the Green Ant.
He's the Green Ant.
Green Ant.
He's the Green Ant.
This is my man, Referee Dean.
Referee Dean. Oh, that's
Dean.
awesome.
I like that.
Yeah. So is that your real face, or are you wearing a mask?
Oh, this is me. I'm the Green Ant.
He's the Green Ant. He's got this hand gesture that's awesome.
No
I'm
mask.
the Green Ant.
No mask needed.
Right.
This way. Ready for some picnics.
He's
It's a summer day out here. Ready to go eat some people's watermelon. Maybe some ice cream. Whatever they got out there. I'm ready to go join a picnic or two.
Are you like a superhero by night too?
When you're an ant, you're a superhero all the time.
So you always use the green superhero.
It's just the Incredible Hulk.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're a lot alike. If you couldn't tell, I'm the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I can see it.
I can see it. Yeah.
No, I could definitely see the super rage there.
Yeah.
You know, underlying the wit.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yes. Oh yeah. That's very cool. What is your superpower?
Oh, well, you see, I can jump really, really high. So
Really?
my finish is a crossbody. I
Okay.
jump high off the top rope, and I come crashing down on someone with all my weight.
Oh, right. Wow.
It's very resilient, too.
Wow.
And you're part of the Sellersville. What is your organization called?
Excellence Professional Wrestling.
Excellence Professional Wrestling.
Oh.
They're excellent. Yeah.
Excellent.
And, you know, when he's not body slamming people and ruining picnics, he's bringing down rubber trees. Just, you know, the song.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Here goes another one.
There goes
Oops,
another
there
one.
goes
There it
another
is. So,
Oops. There goes.
he's the Green Ant and he likes comic books. But they're hanging out here at Comics Den. They're not allowed to perform on the street, apparently. But, yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
It was an interesting morning for you, right?
I was saying that they should, like, go into town and just walk. They said they were allowed to walk around. They could go into town, walk around, and then, like, coordinate a stop-quick wrestle. Like somebody throws someone to the ground, go on top, the ref's going down. 30 seconds later, they're moving on to the next spot. And all of a sudden people are like, what the heck just happened? They threw on the ground.
We had to improvise.
Yeah.
We played a one-fall Jenga match.
Oh,
Face the board.
One fall.
One fall.
Okay.
Him against the board.
Really? Against the board. One fall.
At the end, the Lansdale Jenga champion, the Green Apple.
Well, of course. Naturally.
Is that a defending title, or is that something you did before?
Next year we can wrangle that back up.
Okay, there you go.
So it's
Take on
Jenga,
all challenges.
it was Jenga with wood.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
so,
It
okay.
was like giant Jengas, big wooden Jenga blocks.
What happens if you have to fight the blue termite? See? Ooh, see? Yeah. This.
That might be a problem.
Where is the blue termite?
Blue termite, where is he?
There's plenty
He's
of
not
guys
here
who-
yet.
Blue termite not here before. I think I saw him still board.
Oh, the boar's here. Okay, just for the audience at home, these are not demonic creatures, they're wrestlers. Just to let you know. We have had demonic creatures on the show once in a while, but
Yeah.
these are wrestlers. But this is episode 86.
Yes, it is.
And
And it's Fear the Reaper.
Fear the Reaper. Oh, yeah, Fear the Reaper. And we can't use the song title.
No.
And by the way, you should fear the Reaper.
Yes.
I fear the Reaper.
I do too.
Do you fear death?
Sometimes. Yeah.
You do? What do you think's after death, Bill?
Well, I mean, I don't think we all really know. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
We got someone else. I don't really know. I think maybe something comes afterwards where we our souls kind of just move on.
Mhm.
You know, we kind of I think some of us maybe wander around.
Okay, wander around.
You
What
know,
we did in
or,
life.
Or we stay in one spot like some of them do. You know, or move on to whatever's next. What do you think?
Everybody who is sort of agnostic or challenging their concepts of faith always refer to physics, that energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Right.
Now that's true, but it doesn't have to maintain the same pattern. I mean, you used to be in the sun,
Yeah.
and then it used to belong to a cow.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
ate that hamburger,
Yeah.
and now you're Phil.
Right. Yeah.
So when you die, you're going to get eaten.
Right.
Now, I mean, you're still energy, but you won't be Phil.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we have to be imbued with an immortal soul.
Right.
I love the concept.
I do too.
And you know what? I'm not smart enough to deny it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know enough.
Right.
We're very small creatures in the blink of infinity and eternity. We live on a huge world where people live and die every second.
Yes.
Who am I to assume I understand the universe? So the idea is
They're born and they're every second.
every second born
Someone's
and die.
born, someone's died.
Yeah, and in a New York, no, can't quote a song. It's our day. Nope.
No
Sorry.
quoting. No quoting.
Yeah, no quoting. But we had a really cool guest on,
Yeah, we did.
Bill Reap.
He was awesome.
You liked Bill?
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he is part of Reap Investigations. Tough guy,
Very tough guy.
but he's a marshmallow.
He is.
Remember, that's what he said?
Yes,
He said, everyone thinks I'm this paranormal bad. He's quoting us. But when you get to know me, they're like, you're a marshmallow.
He's a biker. He's tough. He's,
He's part of a secret order.
Mm-hmm.
The Order of the Sword, I think they said.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm still not sure what it is.
I
but-
saw that, and it's like, now I want to find out what's going on over there.
Yeah.
But apparently across the world, they help out people with paranormal issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we've discovered a secret society.
I know, right? Yeah.
Like, the first thing I want to do with secret society is crack open their secrets.
Right, no, we can't do that.
No, of course not. We have great respect for Bill.
We can talk about it, but we can't reveal any specifics.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Not that we know any, but,
No. What I liked about Bill was that he was a down-to-earth guy. We've spoken to a lot of paranormal investigators. We've spoken to a lot of ghost hunters, and there are people that live the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, like Bill, he was very down to earth, and I imagine they have to portray an image of being down to earth to be professional. And they don't go into every house and go, "This is haunted. You're haunted. You're haunted." They go, "Well, the rusty noise was."
There's a disproving method that they need to do, and I think that all started with ghost hunters. They didn't go in to say, "Oh, this is haunted. This is haunted."
Right.
They went in to disprove a lot of this, which as they should.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the best strategy, I think.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, why would you want to say? Once you start saying everything's haunted, then it becomes ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And then you lose credibility.
Yeah, you do. You lose credibility. That's like the last thing any kind of paranormal investigator wants.
And then there's the other side of it, the professional paranormal media expert. You know, they're in the paranormal because they want to make money from books and movies, and it's like I always question a little bit people who have a story, and then you discover that, oh, and I've just released a book through so-and-so publisher, and it's like, well, they've got a financial motive.
You have a stake in that, yeah.
To make sure that story seems true. And that's fine and all. I mean, you want to be a storyteller, that's great, and you want to say it's true. I mean, some of the best hoaxes that I really enjoyed, you know, like War of the Worlds.
Right? Yeah.
War of the Worlds.
Well, the thing with that is, it wasn't, you know, Orson Welles didn't, when he did the radio show, he didn't mean for it to be a hoax.
He just wanted to make it as real.
He specifically said at the beginning of the show, I'm reading War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
This is fictional. You know?
Yeah, he did.
The only problem was, and I actually it's funny you mentioned it, I actually just saw a documentary on it on Netflix about a month ago.
Okay.
And it's funny because all those people that tuned in and didn't hear him say that in the beginning thought it was real.
Right, exactly.
I mean, the people that actually were listening to the show the whole time, they realized, okay, this is just, you know, him reading it.
Right.
But for those people that tuned in, you know, halfway through, were like, oh my God. You know, this is really happening. You know, and it's funny when you think about it.
It is good.
I mean, but that would not happen nowadays.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's funny how gullible people were. Right. You know, no offense, but I mean,
well, you know, I guess
they really believe that.
I don't think anything had really been done like it before. They strove to make it sound real. They created a verisimilitude with news reports and interviews, and I just think it was something new.
Right.
For everybody. You know, we have reality shows now that are claimed to be happening real time.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to think of a few. There have been some really good ones. The Office.
Okay.
The Office is supposed to be real. You know, up in Scranton.
Right. Yeah.
You know, my wife, we went to Scranton one time, which let me tell you something. Go to Scranton, everyone. For your summer vacation.
Oh, man.
You go up to Scranton. But we went up to Scranton because we were up in the Poconos. We needed a place to stay, and I'd never seen Scranton. And normally she would be like, oh, I don't want to go to Scranton. I don't. And she was really excited. I didn't know why. And then we got to this road called Dunder, and it intersected with Mifflin.
Okay.
She freaked out. Dunder Mifflin.
And you didn't know.
I'm like, what the heck is going on? She's all excited to be in Scranton. And if you've been to Scranton, believe me, nobody in Scranton's excited to be in Scranton.
No, they're not.
So and then we go over to Steamtown, which is the trains up there.
Right.
And she's like, oh my God, it's the Steamtown Mall. Apparently the Steamtown Mall was a big thing in the show. So she yelled at me when we went to London on our honeymoon, and I wanted to do the Doctor Who tour. You know, all the places that they've filmed episodes of Doctor Who. But she's all excited about The Office in Dunder Scranton.
Nice.
But Bill Reap was fun.
Yes.
And he was, he's really intense. You know, he knows his stuff. He's a good public speaker. He rides his motorcycle into danger. You know, he's got a great group over there. And we'll be seeing him and the rest of Reap Investigation and a lot of other ghost hunters and paranormal specialists and psychics over at the Selma Mansion in Norristown next weekend.
That's right. Next week. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and Trish is coming up. P.D. Kasak.
That's right.
Bram Stoker award-winning author Trish is coming up. And hopefully they won't throw us out.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Word.
We are known to trash hotel rooms.
Yeah, we do.
And convention halls.
I mean, I leave water bottles all over the place. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
You know, I leave the bed covers.
Your medication.
My medications are just everywhere. You know, Center for the Bowels is just spread out everywhere. No, it ain't pretty. I know, we trash hotel rooms.
Yes.
I mean,
bottles.
I left the bed unmade the one
Energy
time.
waters. And
Yeah. I know, we are horrible.
You know how upset they get when the bed's not made.
Yeah, I know. I get really upset when the bed's not made.
Exactly. So yeah, they like to kick us out.
Yeah.
You know, trashing convention halls. You know, call us Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. That's awesome. Oh, just to let everyone know, the first Summer Dark series went really well in New York City over at Hell's Kitchen, the Oasis Gardens. And they had some great speakers. We spoke to James Chambers on the last show. And tonight we're going to be talking to April, who is one of the co-founders of it and one of the co-founders of the books that they're producing these New York ghost or these New York horror stories. So James talked a little bit about that last time, and we're going to talk to April real quick and hear all about what's going on this summer.
Bucks County area second weekend of June and in need of a bit of spooky, What Are You Afraid of? Paranormal show will be at the first Paranormal Expo at Selma in Norristown, PA. Special guest, P.D. Kazak, horror author and winner of the Bram Stoker Award. Selma Mansion is one of Bucks County's most haunted sites, where guests see candles burning in the windows, spirits moving in the night, and hear the voices of the dead. Come visit horror authors T. Fox and Phil Thomas and P.D. Kazak on June 9th and 10th at 1304 West Harry Street, Norristown, PA. Stay for the category of speakers and workshops with famous ghost hunters and paranormal authors. Check out their website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com for ticket information. Children under 12 are free. Paranormal investigation, $40, sold separately. Psychics, ghost hunters, storytellers, and maybe if you will pass through to the other side. Oh, and Phil and Fox and PD. Oh my.
Hi, this is Tim from Comic Zen. We're located at 301A West Main Street in Lansdale, right near the intersection with Susquehanna Avenue. We have new comics, old comics, graphic novels, including comics made just for kids. Action figures, statues, comic supplies, board games, card games, and much more. We have a special order service for both comics and games, and we have a comic subscription service so you don't miss your monthly issues. So come to Comic Zen. Just don't upset the samurai ghost who haunts the store.
And guess what, kiddies? Foxy and Philly will be recording live from Comic Zen in Lansdale every first Friday of the month. So come down and see us at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, not then, because we will be recording live for the Philly Foxy Haunted Spooky Hour on ParaX Radio. And bring your ghost stories a little before or a little after, and we'll be glad to collect them at Comic Zen. Fridays, first Fridays, at Comic Zen. Comic Zen. In Lansdale, PA.
What are you afraid of?
Hi, I'm Tim Wagner, Bram Stoker Award-winning author.
Hashtag Grave Girls.
This is Katrina Weidman of Destination America's Paranormal Lockdown.
This is Jim Chambers. I'm the author of The Engines of Sacrifice.
This is Jasper Barr, award-winning author of The Final Cut.
And you're listening to What Are You Afraid of?
What Are You Afraid of?
To What Are You Afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
Love it. Fantoxic, please. Fantoxic.
It's What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. This is episode 86, Fear the Reaper. Don't fear the Reaper. Don't fear the Reaper. You can fear that Reaper. Well, everyone should. And we've got more authors on the series because that's what we do. We love to talk to authors and paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, actors, anybody with a creative bone that leads towards horror. I'm T. Fox Dunham. We've got a wonderful author on the show this evening. April Gray has 2 urban fantasy novels, Chasing the Trickster and St. Nick's Favor. Her short stories have been published online and in print anthologies. Many of these stories can be found in her collections, The Fairy Cake Bake Shop and I'll Love You Forever. She edited about 20 novels for Damnation Press and is the editor of the Hells series. Most recently, she has been one of the editors of the New York State of Fright, featuring many of the HWA New York chapter's talented authors. She and her family live in Hell's Kitchen, New York City, in a building next to a bedeviled garden. Gremlins, sprites, or pixies, something mischievous lurks therein, probably authors. Someday she'll find out. Hello, April. How are you this evening?
Doing fine. Thank you, Fox.
Thank you for joining us. Quick question about the garden. Do you manage that garden, that plot there?
There's a Green Thumb Garden. It's under New York City Parks. And indeed, there are about 20 volunteers that keep the garden going. And I am one of those volunteers. And I happen to be on the board right now. But I'll be off the board next year because there's a regular turnover.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that sounds wonderful. I wish I could live next to a garden. I'd be out there all the time. And now that's the location of the HWA New York chapter's Summer Dark Reading Series. How did the reading series get started?
One of the gardeners is also a writer, Heather. She had been talking about having readings in the garden. I remember one time during our open day, I did some readings. So last year when I found myself on the board, I thought, well, why don't we see if we can't do something with HWA, because we all love to read. It worked out last year. We did July and August every Friday evening. The problem was that 2 Fridays got rained out. This year we're doing it differently. We've got June and July, but we're doing it every other week. And therefore, if it rains, we can have a rain date.
Excellent. And I'll be up there on June 15th. James was kind enough to
So looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's going to be great meeting you in person.
And you too.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the garden in Hell's Kitchen. It's going to be great fun, and I look forward to my fellow authors going to be up there, and it's going to be fun. How long have you been writing?
That depends. I remember a short story I wrote in first grade, which got mimeographed. And then I wrote another story in grade school. It was sort of like I'd always be doing, poems and horror stories or science fiction or whatever. But I actually am a theater person. My BA and MFA and PhD work were all in theater. It wasn't until I was got my master's degree that I said, I'm getting a little bit tired of going off Broadway and doing all this work. Maybe I could do something easier. Haha. Right, easier. Writing is not easier, but at least you're not out there in the theater 30 hours a week, working your butt off. You get to work your butt off in front of your computer at home. That's how I sort of switched over. In 85, I took a class with Shauna McCarthy at the New School in science fiction and fantasy. I also took a couple of straight fiction courses there. And I made my first sale not too long after, but then the magazine folded, so I never got published or paid. I decided to go for my PhD. I met my husband. I had my son. And it wasn't until 2003 that I decided to go back to writing because a friend of mine got me into it. And I thought, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just taking care of my son. Well, let's give it a shot. I went to Gotham's writing school. They're here in New York City, but I was able to do online. And it just really worked out well for me.
Incredible. What's your favorite play?
My favorite play? Measure for Measure.
Shakespeare. Very nice.
Well, it's dark. It's a very dark play. It's one of his tragic comedies. I just, when it was playing in the park back in the 70s, I think I saw it 5 times. I saw the Sam Waterston, Meryl Streep version.
Oh my, that must have been enchanting to see Sam Waterston. I noticed that Children of a Lesser God is currently playing in New York City. We might go see that, but we're also heading up to the Hudson Valley, hopefully in 2 weeks, and we're going to go up to see the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival's version of Richard II.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Do they do it outside or indoors?
They do it outside. It's a large white tent, of course, with stadium seating, but it's in a museum complex on the estate, and it overlooks the river, the valley itself. It is wonderful. It is something special.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I gotta check that out. That is great.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too far from you. Beforehand, they let you do a picnic lunch that's BYOB. You can bring wine or Prosecco or something, and it's...
Oh, that's wonderful. I was saying that it's quite nerve-wracking doing readings in the garden because of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I just could not believe, our first Friday, June 1st, all day long, rain, threatening rain. And then it all cleared up perfectly for the evening. But Shakespeare in the Park has to go through that every time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't remember the rain, but I do remember the mosquitoes got a bit bitey when we were up there, especially on the river there. So, New York State of Fright anthology is coming out. It's for charity. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, sure. One of our members actually is a volunteer for this charity, Girls Write. And it mentors young women, in high school with various professional writers. And it's a way of increasing their skills, of course. Girls Write is the charity. And I think it's quite apropos for an anthology.
Well, that sounds wonderful, and we look forward to seeing the anthology. We've seen, previous stuff coming out from James Chambers and some stuff from some of the New York HWA chapter members, and we'll have links for that up at the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com, where you can find expanded content from our shows, photos, links, and also information about the Summer Dark Reading Series over there in Hell's Kitchen at the Oasis Gardens. And that's in Hell's Kitchen, and that's technically Manhattan between 10th and 11th Avenue.
505 West 52nd Street. So you start at 10th Avenue, you start walking towards 11th, and you cannot miss the garden. It's beautiful.
My wife and I spent some time finding it the other night, just to make sure we knew where we were going.
Ah, okay.
What advice would you give new authors trying to get into the field? If you could look back at yourself when you got started, what would you tell yourself?
It's odd because there's this foolhardy quality that happens when you first start writing, which is basically there's such a high learning curve that if you knew what the learning curve was before you started writing, you would never do it. But if you just love to read, that will lead you into the writing. I mean, for me, I took classes with Shauna McCarthy, who is wonderful. And then I took online classes with Marta Randall, also wonderful. Having a supportive, nurturing environment with other writers who are on the same path with you. I think maybe the worst thing you can do is like write something and give it to your friends and family to read because they're not on that path. You're just going to be putting them through something. Or going to your favorite writer who's very busy working on his or her next novel and saying, could you read this, please? That's not right either. You really want to find a workshop that's at your level and is into your genre too, because there's a lot of times you go to a mainstream writing workshop and you want to do genre, you want to do horror, and you get turned off pretty quickly because that's not considered what they're there for. So you do want to be careful about what you choose so you don't get discouraged and that you have the nurturing that you need. I think Online Writers Workshop is also a very good place to go. It's about, $50 a year. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of feedback. You post your stuff and they get back to you. Of course, beginning writers are always scared that somebody's going to steal their ideas. And we all know ideas are like a dime a dozen. It's putting into the ideas that really is the hard work. Understanding your craft. The ideas, they come. Everybody's got ideas. In fact, you'll find 5 other people with the same idea, all doing it differently.
I get a lot of requests for people who want me to read their book or their short story or something that I just, especially with my health, I just don't have the time and energy to do it. And then they get very hurt by it, like you're discouraging them. And Jasper Bark, who's a horror author in England, and he writes for Crystal Lake Press, he said that it's like somebody opens up a pizza restaurant and then they go to another pizza restaurant down the street and ask them for advice on how to run their business and if their food's any good. And it just, yeah, so that's very good advice. Find a class or an online program to get the nurturing you need. Well,
yeah, just don't keep bothering those poor professional authors unless they're getting paid for it.
Right.
You know, a lot of authors teach classes. That's wonderful. Go to a workshop.
It's been wonderful talking to you, and we can't wait to get up to New York City. We're going to spend the night and hang out the next day, and we'll be there that Friday. And I just love the setting. I love the photographs, especially the collage you did. I saw it on your website as I was researching you, and it just looks like a great and almost intimate event where we can kind of hang out and talk to each other. And it's going to be
Yeah, I usually open up the gates around 5 o'clock, but I'm pretty strict about getting everyone out of the garden before dark. The pathways are uneven and it's quite treacherous, so you want to leave at 8, but you can always hang out on the sidewalk or go to a cafe or something like that.
There's a wine bar right next door, I noticed.
Oh, there's La Bergamot plus a wine bar. They're both wonderful places, wonderful, wonderful restaurants in the neighborhood, and you can really make your Friday night very special by doing this.
It'll be special because my wife will be with me as always.
There we go.
Well, you are April Gray. Thank you so much for talking to us. And you can find out more about April and her writing at www.aprilgray.blogspot.com or www.aprilgraywrites.com. And of course, she's on Facebook, and just type her name into Goodreads or over there at Amazon.com, and you'll find a bunch of anthologies she's worked on, her own works, and you'll find that information on the New York State of Fright Anthology. And you can find more information about her, photographs, information about the event at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com, where you can also find all previous episodes and our collection of ghost stories read by our voice actors set to music. It's a lot of spooky fun. Thank you, April, so much for being on the show.
Thank you again, and I look forward to meeting you and your wife in a couple of weeks.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his the sack head of the scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
From the author of the Ghost of Hollywood series and Workplace Spells comes a book for all lovers of pets. Animal Spells and Magic by Marla Brooks. Learn how to choose your next pet according to their astrological sign. Explore animal superstitions. Learn 25 magic spells for your pets and get instructions on creating your own spells. Learn who to call upon and what to use to cast these spells. Includes special chapters by Reverend Tim Shaw, Psychic to the Stars Kenny Kingston, Psychic Medium Victoria Gross, Animal Communicator Dinah Roseberry, and Shaman Willie Windwalker Gibson. This is the perfect book for all animal lovers. Animal Spells and Magic by Marla Brooks. For details on how to get your copy of this amazing new book, go to www.schifferbooks.com or check out Marla Brooks online at www.marlabrooks.com. This would make the perfect gift for the animal lover in your life. Go to www.schifferbooks.com or ask about it at your local bookstore.
He's from Reap Investigations, and their mission is to educate and make the public aware of the paranormal and to help those being affected by researching and investigating possible paranormal activity and the legends of hauntings in northeastern Pennsylvania and surrounding areas. Their primary focus is on private residences and local businesses, but sometimes they'll investigate historically haunted places for fun. I know. Reap Investigations is a member of the Gettysburg Paranormal Association and is a founding member of the Guardians of the Sword.
Exciting, yes.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on with you guys.
This is the day. Today's the day my mother passed away a few years ago. 8 days before I took my wife back to Scotland to marry her. And I obviously have some mixed feelings about her passing a few days before the wedding, which I think is common with anyone who has loved anyone who's died. So, Bill, is she out there? Can we talk? How much of her has transferred over?
See, I think what transfers is really personal. Mm-hmm. And that's my, I'm not a medium, never claimed to be, but just from experience, I think a lot of people who have maybe some unfinished business, okay, something that they haven't said, or don't believe that they are past, or those that we hear the most from. It really depends on what type of classification of haunting you get. But 10 our loved ones, our relatives, come back and say hello at any time? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Question is, do we want some of our relatives to come back
Right.
and say hello to us?
I know what you mean.
Well, it's a comforting thought, and I'd like to be able to talk to her again if we could.
Well,
so maybe.
and this, you bring up a very good point, because we live in an instant gratification world.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I mean, people who have a passion for the paranormal want to have that communication with the other side. That's usually the catalyst and what gets someone involved. So, which is why now, ITC has become so popular in the last 5 years, that it's that instant gratification where you could manipulate sound waves and possibly get a voice and an answer and a response. And, that gives people that closure that they're looking for. It gives them the answers, possibly, that they're looking for. So ITC has become very, very popular again. It's more than just the blinky lights going bing, bing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I imagine that people who need that will often see a pattern in something that's not there even, just to find that closure for themselves.
Sometimes, grief is a very, very, very strong emotion.
Right. Yes,
and everyone handles it differently. And our levels of grief are again layered. I mean, some people take it very easily. Others, it could take decades to get over it. But can we communicate? I mean, we were on our way back from the Bel Air house last month. Chris Morrissey and I did our little side trips, which we look for obscure things, and we went to pay homage to Fred Rogers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
So we went to Mr. Rogers' burial plot, to the mausoleum, and we did try to communicate with him.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
And we did get a voice that sounded very similar to his, and in a cadence rhythm that would have been similar to his voice pattern. Did we reach Fred Rogers? I'd like to think I did, because he was a great man. Did a lot of wonderful things. Public broadcasting, helped people, children.
He was a Marine too, wasn't he, Fred Rogers?
Actually, that was false.
Oh, was that false? See, I'd heard that. I wondered.
The tattoo thing was false, and that was actually the question we asked. Chris asked that question. She says, how do you feel about the false reports about who you were, being a sniper, being in the military, being all of this? And he said it hurts.
What do you think of all the rumors that you were military and killed so many people?
Some great paranormal investigators out there, but very few can claim to have spoken to Mr. Rogers.
I agree. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's amazing.
We're going to pause here because I've been talking to Katrina Weidman, and they've got a band called Away From 30 that have just released their album. And we played one of their songs and did an interview with one of their guitarists, Rick Gambamita. And we've got another song from them called Throwaway. They're from southeastern Pennsylvania. They were formed in 2016. The band chose not to perform shows for over a year so they could write this and record it and develop this wonderful alternative hard rock. And Away From 30 is fronted by Katrina Weidman. She sings. This is her singing.
Right.
She's very talented. Rick Gambamita, guitar. We did the interview with him. AJ Labresco on bass, and Joe Green on drums. And this is Away From 30 Throwaway on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show on ParaX Radios on Friday night at 9 p.m. You can find us on all major podcast services, and you can check out our website for more information about this show, links, expanded information. You can go and see Reep's picture and the whole gang at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com. This is Throwaway from Away From 30.
Say there's nothing left to say.
Finally, winter's icy and dead hand releases from our heart. It's summer. A time for cookouts, swimming, fishing, kayaking, campfire ghost stories, and zombies. Oh, see how they frolic in the parks and fields, eating squirrels and deer, shambling about in fun, riding away in the summer heat. That decomposing smell of roadkill in the oven is the fun smell of undead zombie fun. Fun composing. Now see how they join your barbecue, eating picnickers. What fun! Lemonade and spleens. No, stop! Instead of bombing them, that's all summer dance. Fun composing. Okay, I guess that didn't work. Back to the bombing. Fun composing. Fun composing.
Fun composing.
Caliburn Press, LLC is a Madison, Wisconsin-based publishing company owned and operated by Alan Ledden. Caliburn works with talented writers, artists, editors, and marketers throughout the United States, and you can find their books through their many imprints that include Damnation Books, Eternal Press, Malaferia Press, Ciento Sordida Publishing, and Spiro Publishing. Please visit their website at sites.google.com/site/Caliburn Press LLC/home or Google Caliburn Press to check out their growing list of titles on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and any other place fine books are sold.
I'm Jenna Valadez with the Basement Files. Tune in Friday nights, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ParaX Radio Network.
In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grolix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grolix Podcast. Listen to it at grolixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
So we're back.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
That was great. Yeah.
From Katrina, her band.
Yeah.
I mean, she's such a talented individual.
Yeah.
She does music, she likes to cook, she's got shows on cable television, and she's a Golden Girls fan.
Yeah, yes, she is. Yeah.
She takes a lot of wisdom
she
from
loves
Sophia.
Golden Girls, yes.
Yeah. So we're back with Mr. Bill Reap, who says a lot of people say he's a paranormal badass, but when you get to know him, he's a marshmallow. I like that. That's good.
I like that, yeah. So, Bill, you do a lot of research when you investigate a case. What sources do you utilize?
Well, the wonderful thing that we now have is the internet.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to having to go to those big buildings that they call libraries and look at microfiche.
Yeah, right.
I've heard of those in history.
I remember that, yeah.
My ancestors spoke of those.
And it was, so a lot of it comes through the internet. We still do a lot through newspapers, old articles, historical findings, books, accounts. We'll go in and talk to historical, local history, places, etc., to get basic knowledge on an area. We'll do our research through various colleges, media. It's a lot of different resources, and there are so many of them out there now, and it's so get that information now. Research. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like the olden days when, like you were saying, we get to go to a library and physically...
And look at the Dewey Decimal System.
Right, yeah.
And pull out the card catalog.
It's like the Ghost Bus. When I was researching folklore and urban legends of Philadelphia for the last show, and I found 2 or 3 references to the Ghost Bus of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And after reading, of course, I found like 3 different sources from 3 different people. And then after reading about it, I realized that I may have seen it.
Okay, yeah.
And I never would have found that if not for the intranet.
The intro, yeah.
Yeah. So, Bill, now we've heard of your love of the American Civil War. In fact, you had only intended to visit Gettysburg for 2 days, but your wife insisted on staying for 9. We are well aware of the paranormal activity of Gettysburg. We're friends with Mark Nesbitt. Had him on the show a few times. We actually went out there and filmed a show at his shop.
Yeah, we did. Great.
Last September. Could you tell us some of your personal ghost experiences in Gettysburg?
I mean, Gettysburg is just amazing. I like the Civil War because I look at it as such a pinnacle in our nation's development and things that have come out of it, good and bad. And that was, Gettysburg was the largest battle of death during that time. And Gettysburg was the home of a massacre predating that as well. Before the Civil War, there was a huge Native American battle that was there with a lot of loss. Mm-hmm. So that area is very, very rich in history and spirit and energy and emotion, and I think that's what causes there to be so much activity there.
Right.
Now, as far as my experiences, I did take a hike out to Neal Avenue, the Lost Avenue in Gettysburg, which when I spoke to the park ranger, he says less than 8 people a year since the end of the Civil War make the trek out to Lost Avenue.
Okay.
And it's because it's a hike.
Right, yeah.
And did take a photograph out there, which is on our website, and it is a smoked figure where you can see a pack, a rifle, and a kepi very, very clearly. And that was probably my most beloved photo or experience in Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Gettysburg is I don't care where you are.
Yeah.
You feel it when you get there.
You do. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're standing at the Super 8 on the outskirts of town or if you're standing on the battlefield. You feel it.
You feel it. I agree. I mean, last time I was there, I was in my motel room in the Colton Inn, and I was just sitting in there, and I just felt it everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I left, and after I left, that feeling, I can't even explain that feeling, but it alleviated, and I felt it disappear. But yeah, while you're there, you like you said, you just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that energy, it's that emotion. We were at the Daniel Lady Farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did investigation there, and I was out at the mass grave, the Confederate mass grave.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an EVP, I believe that's up on the website too, where I asked, "Where are you from?" And it clear as day said Bama.
EVP.
Are you a rebel soldier? Where are you from?
Nice.
Bama. Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, Not Alabama.
Bama.
Yeah.
Bama. And it was, and then inside the barn, which was a field hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I asked a question, "What did you see?" And the response I got was death.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it kind of puts it into perspective of the gravity of what happened in that area and what those people went through and what they saw and what they felt. And if you take that, you take emotion, which emotion is energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So it's there.
It's just there, yeah. And speaking of Gettysburg, we know Mark Nesbitt, and he explained the intensity of hauntings in Gettysburg is due to the amount of quartz crystal in the land, which somehow imprinting energy patterns, much like a geographic hard drive. And so, in your opinion, why are some places more haunted than others?
Perfect example of what Mark said. You have ley lines, which are very high mineral deposits, which quartz crystals are like batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And they store and amplify. We were at a location last month filming in the Bel Air House, Bel Air, Ohio. And, when you think about it, there's a ley line that runs underneath there. There was also a coal mine near there. You have a river right outside the house. You had, like, the trifecta, the perfect storm, brewing of what would create that energy and travel and carry energy. And you had all of these things there. So when in nature, there are natural things that push energy. Quartz crystal being one of them.
Right.
Water being another.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the land. Yes, land plays a very, very big part of a haunting, which is why I said, when you do your research, don't just stop at when the house was built.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go back as far as you can to really get a good lay of the land. And if you can get topographical maps and look at things and land structures, and then you can get into what the mineral rights and the mineral composition of the area is, helps you immensely.
Yeah,
excellent.
That's interesting. Yeah,
it's funny. He was talking about the Daniel Lady Barn,
mm-hmm.
And of course that's the site where Mark Nesbitt recorded the bleeding from the ceiling.
Yes,
remember?
Right. Yeah,
you got that wonderful picture. He was talking about that when he was on the show.
I remember that. Yeah,
wonderful, Mark.
That's great.
Yeah, and you were in Gettysburg. I know you mentioned Penhurst Asylum. We were down there also in October.
Yeah,
we did 2 shows from Penhurst. Mm-hmm. That was crazy.
That was interesting.
But they let us go through the haunted house as many times as we wanted to as VIPs.
That was great.
Yeah, that was wonderful. That was worth the whole trip.
It was
right there.
It was amazing.
We were there, so I know you've mentioned it on your shows. Did you find anything spooky at Penhurst?
Penhurst is a very interesting place. There was a lot of tragedy went there. If you sit down and you look at the documentaries that were filmed about what actually happened in the atrocities, which led to it being closed. And it wasn't only Penhurst. There was many different asylums throughout the state of Pennsylvania that were done that. Again, you're looking at energy. You're looking at the misuse of things. You're looking at pain. You're looking at suffering, and those things stay. You're also looking at how the roles that some of those people played, not only the patients, but the doctors as well. And they leave that energy pattern. Yeah, they leave that energy pattern there.
Yeah, that's what we'd heard was that the EVP they got when someone asked, "Where did you hide the bodies, Dr. Fear?" Because he was that notorious physician that was visiting patients. And they found an EVP says something like either, "I burned them in the woods" or "buried them in the woods."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Fear at Penhurst.
And it's interesting because you talk about there's someone who, he didn't die there, but why is his spirit there? Because that's where his energy was. That's where he felt maybe comfortable or powerful. So he went back there.
Oh, he felt powerful there.
He went back, yeah. You don't hear that too often. When someone dies in another location, they actually go back to the place they spent the most time at in life.
No, people get lost.
Think about it. When you die, are you going to hang out at the cemetery?
No.
Well, honestly, it depends who's buried there. If I'm among celebrities and stuff, I might hang out
a little bit.
Just have people come visit me.
Right.
What did Mark Twain say? Heaven for climate, hell for company?
Yeah. Nice. So, Bill, during your investigations, what geographical areas do you cover, and how can our listeners be in touch?
We pretty much covered most of the East Coast, and we've even delved into the Midwest a little bit as well. The way to get in touch with us, we're on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and, reapinvestigations.com. You could reach us through there. There's email info. You could get in touch with us. We do actually respond to every email we get. We look at pictures, we talk with people, give advice. We have a lot of other teams that mentored over the years and even some of the upcoming paranormal people. And, we're very open. We do, our radio show as well, Paranormal Collaboration, which, we talk about a lot of different of these topics with a lot of the different people who have been in the paranormal for quite some time. And we try to be as open and keep an open amount of communication as possible, and social media seems to be the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the same with us too.
Right.
It's funny. There were days when I'm not feeling well or I'm too busy, and I don't promote the show on social media. And then on the days when I do, our numbers triple.
Yeah.
There really is something to it. You really have to get out there and shuck.
Yep.
To build up an audience. We're doing, I think we're about 135,000 direct downloads now.
Yeah.
85 shows.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Doing good, yeah.
But I mean, it helps that we're parajournalists, so we don't do ghost investigations. We just don't have the resources.
Right. We just
report on it. Yeah, we tell the stories.
Right.
So we keep a very positive.
And I don't know what it is, and we talk about this all the time. And Tina, Paul, Marcy, and Chris, and I have this conversation. Is we travel all over. Like we'll be down at the Ferry Plantation in Virginia Beach in July on Friday the 13th, and we were there last year. Our events sell out. Every event. I don't care when it is, where it is. Months in advance, they're sold out. And I think part of it is because we really take the time when people come, they know that they're going to get a learning experience where I'll say, here, you want to play with my Kinects? Here, I'll show you how it works.
Right.
You could carry it. You could use it. How else is someone going to learn? Rather than too many places just bring you in and go, okay, got to be out of here at midnight.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah,
and
I've experienced that many times.
And it's like, well, what do? I don't have equipment. What am I? I'm just going to walk around and wait for something to touch me, or what happens?
That's pretty much my style. Yeah. Like Pine Street, Yeah. I called out to her. I mean, so vocal initiation of the spirit.
Right.
So, but Bill, our friend Bill, who works at SEPTA, just texted in. And jokingly, I told him we were talking to Bill Reap of Reap Investigations, and he said, is there a motto, if you're a ghost, you'll reap what you sow?
Right.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been wonderful talking to Bill Reap. This sounds very exciting, and I saw this, and it just sounded like kind of an adventure. Who are the Guardians of the Sword?
The Guardians of the Sword is a group of individuals of different faiths who have come together to help people with more severe hauntings. So it's kind of like a non-denominational order where you have pagans, you have Christians, you have Muslims, you have all faiths, all belief systems come together to pull information to help people with hauntings.
Excellent. That's great. That sounds, and it's got a bit of mystery to it.
It does, yeah.
The name, and it just compels some confidence.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
If I was being haunted and I needed some help, I would want the Guardians of the Sword to come.
Me too. Yeah.
Kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was literally just going to say it Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Sword.
Well,
I mean, I'd call the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's pretty good. But anyway. I'm a big Marvel guy, so.
Yeah, we've been enjoying it too this year.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Anyway, so he has set up the Selma Paranormal Expo. And you can find information about that under their events page at www.reapinvestigations.com, or you can go to our website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. If you're in the Pennsylvania region, I mean, they've got some great people coming down. It's the nucleus of the paranormal community.
It's going to be a blast.
We'll be there, yeah. So we'll be there with our table with P.D. Casack, Bram Stoker award-winning horror author. She'll be down, and Phil and Fox will be down, and I'm sure Allison will be growling in the background. So I make her do these things. Yes, my wife is not a paranormal lady. Like, the story I tell is we had our honeymoon in Scotland. And we were in a boarding house, nice hotel, bed and breakfast in Dublin. And it was that someone opened the door at like 3 a.m. I thought somebody was coming into a room, and you could actually hear the footsteps coming to the side of the bed, and something invisible pushed down the side of the bed. And I turned over and I'm like, hun, I think a ghost just came in. And she sort of looked up drowsily and said, "Is it gone? Okay, tell it to go away and come back tomorrow." And went back to sleep.
Nice.
My wife's nonchalance to spirits. That's very Allison. Well, thank you, Bill. It's been incredible talking to you.
It was great speaking with you both. Thank you very much for having me on.
And we look forward to seeing you with Selma.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I can't wait. We'll see you on June 9th and 10th.
Well, I'm T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
Where are you from?
T. Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard, and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Books. A major motion picture based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was recently released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing and Fox has a story in the next Stargate anthology from MGM and Fandemonium Books, Points of Origin. Fox is an active member of the Horror Writers Association, and he's had published hundreds of short stories and articles. His motto is wrecking civilization, one story at a time.
Phil Thomas is an author and screenwriter from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His screenplays have been produced into feature films False Face and Always from Darkness, and are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon On Demand. His short films can be viewed on his YouTube channel, Film Zero Presents. He is a member of the International Association of Professional Writers and Editors, and he currently writes for Cultured Vultures, Game Skinny, and BloodyDisgusting.com. His first novel, The Poe Predicament, is being published in 2018 by Caliburn Press.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.